we're going to be looking at the next few minutes now. We're going to be talking about poor handling of, firearms by security agencies in the country. Now, if you recall, sometime last year, to be precise, on the 22nd day of December 2022, there was a report in the Ajah area whereby a certain Assistant Inspector General of Police, that was his rank then, in Lagos, in the name of Drambi Vandi, shot a gun. And of course, the bullet of the gun was said to have pierced through a vehicle, shatter the glass of that vehicle and hit a certain lawyer on her neck. And of course, she died eventually. Now, she died, and of course, she could not be saved. And the DSP that was responsible for that gunshot, he could not also deny. Now, the big question that people started asking about that incident was what actually made him to do that. It was not a case of accidental discharge, because as the persecution went on, and as the case went on in court, the lawyers saw that it was not a case of accidental discharge. So the big question that they asked was actually responsible. Why did he shoot that gun? And nobody knows. Anyway, this morning we're going to be looking at the death sentence of suspended ASP to die, who has been sentenced to die by hanging over a slain lawyer in Lagos. Issues in focus. And to do all this this morning, we're so privileged to have Barrister Dr. Patrick Awosaige, a legal luminary and, of course, a public affairs analyst. You're welcome to.
Thank you for having me.
I'm sure you said congratulations to your girl child at home.
Oh, yes,
you
congratulations to all the females, all the women, all the girl children in the world, especially our home country, Nigeria.
Okay. All right, so Lagos State High Court on Monday at the Tafa Balewa Square, convicted a suspended ASP, Drambi Vandi by name, who killed a Lagos lawyer, Bolanle Rahim, to death by hanging. And of course, you recall that case went on last year. Now, we understand that the Justice, Ibironke Harrison, sentenced the accused to death. And of course, after finding him guilty of the murder of the pregnant lawyer, the judge held that the convict should die by hanging, and of course that the hanger should ensure that he dies before he's being left alone. Vandi attached to the Ajiwe police station in Ajah was responsible for that gunshot. Now, Barrister, what do you make of this whole situation, the whole scenario, starting from what happened last year, the poor handling of the gun, that was fired, that led to the death of the lady, and of course the sentence, the conviction of the sentence, and the whole case generally. What do you make of it?
Thank you very much, Vance. It's rather unfortunate, we say, that we lost her, and a very promising woman and a mother. I look at the psychology of the children now. What would become of the children? I know they were coming as a family, and mommy couldn't make it. It's unfortunate that she lost her children. May God, grant the family the fortitude to bear this loss that is lasting forever. But look, away from that now, looking at the Nigerian situation, I will be economical with the truth to, just post blame on the police, as it were, or the law enforcement agents, as it were. It's a Nigerian, or it's become the norm around the world. We saw George Floyd's saga in America too. But again, for you to hold the gun and pull it, something must have been responsible. That, I don't know, maybe she who's not here to tell the story, and maybe there are some other things that we didn't get to know, and maybe there were some offensive statements that she made why she was driving, I wouldn't know, that led to him pulling the trigger. Again, even if she had said something like that, is it worth him pulling the trigger? Obviously not. And again, we need to begin to look at the mental assessment of those that are in charge or that are in the enforcement agency. And remember, obviously, there should be consistent training and checks of their sanity, as it were. For me, for a man and ASP at that status of being a high cop, you should have gone through the nitty-gritty, all the necessary training. You've been there. If he had been killing people, he wouldn't have seen that day all the while. So he had been a very responsible, I want to believe, a police officer over time, but something went wrong. Now, I think that's the point. Nigeria, or the situation of the country, to a great extent, happened to people. And it's unfortunate that it happened that way. I don't know the circumstances. I know all we look at now is a dead woman. What happened? I know, again, the way we talk to them at times at the checkpoints, it's not always too okay. I'm just speaking this now because...
You've been a law enforcement agent now.
The law enforcement agent. You see, you meet a policeman holding a gun or there, you are irritated. Maybe because of some other experiences, your particulars, money back and forth. Now, you must also understand that they are there by the law. It's legal for them to be on the road to check and ensure they rid the society of criminals, as it were. And if there are other transactions that go on, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm actually saying, first and foremost, you should accord them the respect and the honor they deserve. You know, I don't think, like for me as a person, when I'm driving, if it's dark, I'm going to put on the lights even before getting to you, so that you could see who is in the vehicle. And then you can have your conversation. They won't tell me to stop. I don't stop right in front. I stop before. They have to even take some few steps to me. So I don't look like maybe I'm trying to escape or something. So they will be at peace with you. And most of the time, they easily ask me to go. And I think that is a way out of that. But again, was that the situation? Some of them could be very annoying. You know, like I said, he may have had a bad day and things may have been happening around him. And at the end of the day, this is what happened. It's F.R.O. Williams that said, foremost lawyer, that said, of blessed memory now. He said, no, Nnamdi Azikiwe, I beg you. He said he's a madman that argues with another man holding a gun. F.R.O. Williams' case was that he was being ordered to sit inside the mud, and he gladly did it. And they asked him, F.R.O. Williams, why did you do that? He said he was holding a gun. How could I have been explaining legal issues with him when he's holding a gun? I had to obey the gun, and they asked me to sit down, and later they asked me up, although the officer that did that was punished, but at least he had his life. What I'm saying is that a man holding a gun, it's not for us to exchange words and start talking back at them. You know, they could be infuriated, and people have short fuse, they could react in funny ways. So that happened. A lot of circumstances bordering on the country, the way things have been handled and things are going. We saw the NSAS, we saw the brutality and how people have talked about how police have been killing, or not just police, the all enforcement agents in general have been killing, and all of that. But again, we should also look at our emotion and our attitude, the way we see them, the way we perceive them, the way we regard them, the way we respect them. I think this is another narrative altogether. But again, it's unfortunate that she passed on. She didn't make it. The policeman, yes, you say, well, but the judgment. Yes, it's a welcome development. At least you serve as a deterrent for others who are, you know, witnessing today. They know that you cannot just kill, not because she's a lawyer. Any Nigerian, any human person, first she's a human being before being a lawyer. A lawyer is just her qualification, it's what she has become over time. But she's a human being. We must respect human lives. And I think it should be a strong warning to all and to everyone that whoever is privileged to hold a gun, you cannot just hold that gun and start shooting, you know, at will because you feel angry or whatever. I don't know what led to that, but again, the crime has been committed and judgments have been entered. Okay. And it's a welcome development. Okay.
All right, so the two pictures, the two pictures on the screen now, we have a lady, that's the slain lawyer, talking about Mrs. Bolanle Rahim. And of course, they suspended and they convicted, and of course they sentenced. Let's see that picture again now, the PD. They suspended, and of course they convicted. He was suspended first, and of course he was convicted, and definitely he was sentenced. That's from the suspended ASP now. Talking about the name, Drambi Vandi. I little wonder whether he's a Nigerian. I don't know, because that name doesn't sound Nigerian now. Drambi Vandi. That's the name.
Well, names are, we bear all sorts of names. You know, I don't think, if that is the name he's been using over time, as far as he had been enlisted into the police force over time, I think the records are there to check. whether there's a manipulation somewhere. I don't think that would be done in a matter like
anyway,
this.
that's just by the wayside. Now, let's see that picture more. Let's see the picture more, the PD, please. Let's see the picture more. Now, you see, that's a place where that incident occurred last year. Talking about the Ajah area now, to be more precise, Ajiwe police station area in Ajah, where that police officer was attached to. Now, there were reports, series of reports in that area, that it appears that some policemen that they've often posted to that area, they became too possessive, they became too overbearing. Now, the same thing seems to be happening in some of our police stations in town. If you stay in Benin, for example, there are some checkpoints. I don't want to mention names now. There's some checkpoints that are very close to some certain police stations. You could pick one or two police officers that over time they become too overbearing in their dispensation of duties and all that. Now, they become too possessive of that environment. Now, would you want to suggest that perhaps police officers should not be left, in police stations for too long, to man certain areas for too long?
Well, I don't think, if you look at it now, we still have limited police officers in this country. That's the truth. And the idea of, okay, we have all there is to move them everywhere, it's not there. Let's be honest with ourselves. Like I said, there are a lot of factors that could necessitate things like this. When you're talking about, well, we shouldn't leave a policeman for too long, who is going to replace him? Where are the replacements? That's the challenge. So we have a lot of issues as a country already. And again, they are
rotating them now.
They are rotating them, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They're pulling them away. There are some areas I don't even have. That's the point I'm trying to make. In rotation, you're talking about bringing man from A to B. And we're talking of C and D don't have. So we're even privileged to have some folks here. Or else the robbers or the criminal will be having a field day. That's what I'm trying to say. In as much as I've said that, I'm also saying it's not as if they can't be disciplined. Again, if there are, petitions against them and reports against them, there will be question and call to order. But again, I don't want to believe that the police work or they have possession or they're just there doing their thing. I don't believe that. I don't want to believe that. I believe they could have some bad eggs among them. They could have some stubborn policemen. I don't believe they are on their own frolic, like the people say it. That's not how the police work. If a policeman misbehaves, for instance, I could walk up to the station or report. If I have his number, I have his name, I could do a petition. Anybody, not because I'm a lawyer, anybody can write. If a policeman slaps me and I'm able to evidence that, the superior officers will not be, they won't take it lightly. That's the truth. That's the truth be told. But we wouldn't know what happened most of the time. Our people are very funny. At times I say it. You are driving, the policeman says stop. He says, I beg, waiting, they worry you, that kind of talk. Why are you disturbing me? Is he disturbing you? He's doing his job. That's a man, he's a father, he has kids, he has family. So you're just asking you, stop, then you just say, check what you want to check and let me go. I have a right to check, my friend. And until I'm done, you won't go. And that elicits some talk back and forth and result to some, talking him down all the while you have been working. Well, I had this one. He said, all the while you have been working, what have you achieved? A young boy telling an officer of the law, that what have you achieved in your life?
Yeah, but as a
police, I understand. I'm not trying to hold brief for them.
I'm also not trying to hold brief for the young guy.
I'm trying to say that we must have a balance. In as much as we are cautioning the police, we must also talk to ourselves. I remember as a youth copper driving my vehicle, and in Ekiti State, I was a road safety registrar, the coppers registrar. And there are no those trainings we had then that assume everybody on the road is mad. That's what they told us.
You are the only sane person.
You are the only sane person. And that's why I said, whoa, that's beautiful. So I should just drive and believe that any man coming, before I said, you want to overtake me, I will what? So when I remember what the sector commandant told us then, that look, just have that assumption that that man that's driving, that's trying, just let him go. The road is not running away. Let him leave you. Just go on. And the moment you start doing that and you are insulting yourself before you know it, an accident occurs, you now start blaming yourselves. So this is what I'm talking about. We should also caution ourselves, be well behaved. And again, before they issue you a driver's license, I think they should also talk to them. There should be other things, not just you can move the vehicle. It's more than moving the vehicle. The psychology of the man driving behind the wheel, you must know how to comport yourself. When they say stop, you stop. And regardless of who your father is, whether he's the president of the country, I don't give a damn about that. You should just respect the man standing. That's how it should work. But most of the time, you remember there was an issue of, you know, is it not the ex-man trying to hold a woman who was offending the law, who was
driving against traffic.
And then she now said, whether do you know who my husband or something. The husband came with all manner of folks to beat him up. That shouldn't be. That shouldn't be. We should learn to behave well. Behave well in public. That shows you are responsible.
Okay.
And I think the idea of maybe those policemen that are, and again, you know, there are some criminals that are also pulling those things out. They want you to get rid of some men that we don't want. You never can tell. If you go back to this man that have been convicted now, check his profile and see what he has done over time. Because crime will always fight back. They will always find a way to get at you. So we cannot rule that out also. They are also there in the spotlight, not to just to protect the people. And at the same time, those that they are distracting or depriving from carrying out their nefarious activities will not sit down and watch them. They will also plan and see how they could also create a situation like this. I know, yes, obviously you could say, well, I don't want to go, you know, I bet he pulled the trigger. Yeah, he did, he has committed an offense. And he has got conviction on that. But we are saying also, there are different ways. They could offend you. They could come and say, look at you, silly man, and stuff like that. They could just say all of that. And then eventually, you are irritated, you are angry. That's why the training on the police should be more. And I think the government should fund them more. I think so. I think so. They should. These are people that stand on the road, whether it's raining, the sun is there.
This doesn't really have to do with funding now.
When I mean funding.
Attitude.
Character. When you mean funding, how do you train? Somebody's attitude. Before you got him enlisted, you checked him up. Over time, you need to keep training him. Okay, you ask somebody to go to his checkpoint and he doesn't have money and they have to fund himself. And he's angry. When I mean funding, we need to get them well kitted up. Some of them, if they tell you they are, I don't want to mention so many stuff right here. But all I'm saying, when I mean funding, I'm not saying give them money. We're talking about training. Okay, who's going to train them? We talk about training them. Somebody is going to be paid to come. And when those monies are not forthcoming, do you think will you do free training if you are in position to do that? So it doesn't work that way. So we need to look at it and know that these are enforcement agents. They are carrying guns. They are carrying firearms and around. So they need to be guided. Just like the dogs. If we could train dogs, I mean, the one we call police, the essential dogs that go around to sniff for criminals. We train them. We have specialized training, different from what we have on the dogs on the streets. And they are able to be sensitive. I think the police should also have such training. That's what I meant. And it needs funding at that instance.
Now, some of the facts about the cases that Jambi, I always find it difficult to pronounce the name now. Jambi Vandi. Some of the facts coming from the cases that that man perhaps did not also have a very good relationship with some of his colleagues, because immediately that incident happened that day last year. Now, some of his colleagues that he was at that checking point, they did not deny. I mean, very untypical of some of the Nigerian policemen that we know. They will want to cover. Some of them will always cover their own, but they did not deny. They pointed out to him that he fired that gun. And of course, now I'm not a police officer. I've not held a gun once, but I do know before you actually pull the trigger, you must have cocked the gun. You must have cocked it before you pull the trigger. Now, little wonder if Jambi Vande, if he cocked, I mean, we're looking at a woman here that was not armed. She wasn't armed. It's not as if maybe the thing happened in a close range. I mean, let alone to say that maybe she said some offensive words to her. It happened from a distance. He fired, and of course, the bullet went through and hit the lady on the neck, and she died. Now, what do you make of that, one? And secondly, the fact that she was, the case was that she did not plead a case of accidental discharge, that would have softened the sentence. What do you make from all this?
Now, when you say you cannot argue what is glaring. Is there any way you could sweep it under the carpet? There were evidences everywhere. People were around.
No, if the police wanted to do that, if his colleagues wanted to do, they would have done it.
No, when you say his colleagues, I don't think we should also advocate for what is wrong. And maybe they are trying to turn a new leaf. But again, I want to believe that it was it was too glaring, it was too obvious to the eyes. Everybody saw it. You know, in the world we are, in the world of cell phones and stuff like that, people saw. I believe they saw what happened. And again, we're talking about having good. Obviously, he should be their boss. I want to believe.
Yeah.
He should be
an ASP now.
An ASP should be the boss. He should be the head of the team. Obviously, the younger ones will not always have it fine with you. They want you to be changed. Maybe you are the boss that kind of lead them, give them, they feel you are overbearing.
And maybe he didn't have a good relationship with them too.
It's possible. There are people, you don't have, it's not about good relationships, it's about conduct. Even if he doesn't have good relations, you have to respect it's your order. It's the order he gives to you. Take at that instance. You don't say, well, I don't have good relationship with him. I will now. He didn't plan killing anybody. I don't think he planned killing that woman, no matter what happened. It was not his plan. It was not in their plan. Okay, let him kill. They will now deny him. No, that was not it. So nobody knew it was going to happen. It just happened. Things happen. Accident happened. Yes, we can't say it's not accidental discharge yet, but somehow he killed her. Did he feel bad about it? Was he happy that he killed her? I don't know. Like I said, I don't want to go into what transacted between both of them because the vehicle was in front, like it's established now. But it passed there. I don't know what happened. That's what
the case was that the woman was asked to stop and she didn't stop, but she went to make a U-turn. So as she was making the U-turn, there was a gunshot.
Before he asked her to stop and she didn't stop, do you know what happened? Was there some conversation? Was there some exchange of words? You wouldn't know. You wouldn't know. I don't know what happened there. That's what I'm trying to say. In as much as a crime has been committed, do we have, I wish it was where we have way to record all that transacted, happened at that instance. Then we'll be able to know this is what really led to it. Because I don't think, except he's insane, and I don't think he was insane, or if he is insane, as the case may be. If he was, he would not be there. He had his men. So something happened that triggered off that anger that he could not control. That's where character and training comes in. That's where character and training, and as an enforcement agent holding the firearm, you should. And again, I also keep wondering, it's only here we basically see them carrying guns around on the road. You are not actually to do that. In as much as a vehicle plate number, have a registration. And we can always track down any vehicle we so wish to. So it keeps me wondering when you hold guns right on the road.
Yeah, but criminals, I mean, we have guns almost in places in Nigeria now. Criminals hold guns.
I agree with you. I'm saying the showing of the guns, there could be with some men. I love the X-Men guys when they are doing their job. They could be behind the flowers somewhere, waiting, watching, keeping surveillance. You know, I think that's more strategic. Other than you be on the road, you see men with guns. Kids are growing up and they're seeing guns every time. I think it's not a very good idea. You go out of this place, you understand what I'm talking about. You see that the police are not always at you. Surveillance should be more of it. And if that vehicle, if she were carrying children, you know this is a woman. So I think the way to go, even if she's doing something, you feel something, you're suspecting something, you could, find a way, and then there are ways you can track that vehicle down.
Okay. Now, what do you make of the case that he would have rendered the case a case of accidental discharge, and if he had done that, he would have gotten a manslaughter charge? Now, what is manslaughter? Now, I'm a lawyer here. What is manslaughter, and what do you make of even when a police officer actually did that thing intentionally, then he says that it was accidental discharge, then he gets a softer sentence?
Now, evidence, like, I don't want to agree. I was not in his prosecution. I don't want to agree that they just said, well, he did it like that. I don't think that way. Even in the criminal.
Oh, there were witnesses that testified against him.
No, what I'm saying, in the way the criminal law runs, even if he admits, yes, the court will enter not guilty for him. Are you not getting it? Even if you say I'm guilty,
give him the room to.
Even if he comes out and say yes, the court will not enter because there will be room. Oh yes, giving him the room
to defend.
To defend.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So I don't want to believe that everybody, like you were trying to say, his colleagues said yes. He did.
It was his colleagues that testified against him.
No, what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You see, now when you do something intentionally, it's like it was an intentional act. The matter is not ended yet, It's going on appeal. If not, it have a right to appeal the judgment of that court. So if you just conclude on that, it could eventually be given some soft landing. I don't know.
Now, what do you think is going to be appealing?
It could appeal that, well, I did not do it intentionally. I didn't. Like you just said, the vehicle was in front or something. Something came up, I don't know, that came over him. I don't know what came over him. That if the woman had driven away, it wasn't at close range, like you said. He pulled the trigger and something happened. Maybe he wanted to hold. He can come up. There are ways you could always come up with an appeal. It's appealable grounds on that judgment. It's not that he did it the way we are saying it. If the appeal fail, fine. What I'm trying to say is that if you say he killed someone, this murder, he has murdered someone, and the court is saying, okay, you murdered somebody. That's not how it's done. So they have exhausted all the necessary defense he may have brought in. Nobody wants to be killed. They don't want to die. He himself didn't want to die. So obviously he would have gone into proper defense. And the court found him guilty. And then he was convicted.
So on that case, he doesn't have any defense
That's
anymore.
in that court, sir. You still have rights to appeal. Another court,
so you can still go ahead to...
Obviously. He can go, of course, to Supreme Court. He can. He can go to the appeal court, and the appeal court could say, well, we still find you guilty. Go and face your sentence. And he still reserve the right to go to the Supreme Court. It's his right. It's his right. Look, I feel you should still look at it. This is what happened. Left for me. If you ask me, I wasn't there. I'm not in the matter. I don't think he wanted to kill her. I don't think so. In my thoughts, I'm not his lawyer. I don't know him from anywhere. I feel for the death of my sister. It pains me so much. More, she's a lawyer and a mother of children. I feel for her so much. But I don't think...
Yeah, the circumstantial evidence, barrister, now. We are looking at the circumstantial evidence now. Now, the colleagues, what they said. Now, it wasn't a case that maybe some robbers were around the corner, that there was a hot chase, that he had to fire that gun. No. Now, the case was that you stopped a lady. She didn't stop. The lady drove and went to turn. And there was a fire shot. Now, when they investigated that case further, they discovered that the pellets of the gunshot was actually the one that he took. Because, you know, police now have to check, that pellet, where did it come from? It was part of the one in his rifle. And that was why it was established that you were the one, it was the gun that you shot that killed that lady. So when
were there other gunshots?
There was no other gunshots.
That's what I'm saying. So everybody knew he was the one.
When you say he didn't want to kill, that maybe he did it for one purpose and another thing occurred. The circumstantial evidence was that there were no robbers around. It wasn't as if there was a hot chase of some criminals elements around.
You cannot be very sure. You don't know what they know. So you don't understand.
I mean, the case now, we didn't hear that.
It doesn't have to come up. What the case is concerned about is basically what happened. There are other things that were going on that you don't know. You are only concerned about what has happened. Somebody has been killed. That's what I'm talking about. So that's why I said there are grounds for appeal. So you cannot just conclude, well, okay, maybe it's manslaughter because, okay, he didn't do it intentionally. It was just an accidental discharge in the course of carrying out his duty. Okay, let's give him some years imprisonment of sorts. I think that is what you were trying to say. But again, for you to say, it may still get there. You may still get that manslaughter conviction eventually. I don't know. It all depends on what the court will be looking at.
Now, if he gets a manslaughter conviction, will he still be sentenced to die?
He won't die, definitely. Definitely, they were asking. He won't die. He will now have to pay some, serve some terms in prison. I think that's basically how that will turn out. So I think that's what is basically. And again, even if you talk about being convicted now, to die by hanging, the governor still reserves the right to sign the death warrant. You have to sign it. If the executive governor fails to sign, he will be in prison. So there are many people that have been convicted like that. They are not killed yet. So it's not automatic. It's not an issue of maybe he has been convicted today and then tomorrow take him out to the gallows. No, that's not the issue. It's an issue of the governor having the will. Well, let me look at it. Do we really need to kill him now? Okay, let's keep it in view. It will be in prison. And then that's basically it. So the death conviction now is not final. That's what I'm saying. There are other factors that play out before someone is convicted. I remember these states then when the former governor, Adam Sushamala, signed a death warrant of some criminal guy, and that's it. So until you sign, he cannot be convicted.
Okay. Now, you see that most times sentences are really not they don't really pay back, so to say, except the fact that they just serve as a deterrent. I mean, this lady, she has died now.
Exactly.
We understand that she was pregnant, 41 years of age, pregnant, and she died. The baby also died. Now, what is in law that sentences, they don't really pay, they don't pay back for the atrocity, the evil done, other than
damage,
or the damage done, other than serve as a deterrent.
Yes.
You know, for if you ask the husband of Bolanle now, she would have probably preferred situation whereby if he can actually be paid back on the death of his wife.
Pay back in what sense? In terms of
know.
financial compensation? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know. Maybe.
No, if that's what you're saying, they could do that. You know, this criminal. Now that he has been convicted, they can still go back to the civil court, you know, to demand for all of that. The criminal court is to punish you for the wrong you've done. Yeah, you could go back for liability. There are liabilities that have been created now.
Yeah.
In the vacuum of his wife not being with him now, and the children are not going to be motherless, and they are going to go through some. You could go back to court. Yeah, the civil court will definitely give you judgment. But for me, no matter how much they're going to pay you, the mother of those children, she's forever gone. Although it will cushion some stuff around the hand, but that's it. So for criminal matters end on the grounds of just punishing the offender.
Yeah.
The man that have perpetrated the act gets convicted, and that's what it is. And they have done their job. So you pick up the certified copies of the judgment, and then you cannot go and file a civil action of compensations of sorts. And they will gladly listen to you based on the strength of this judgment of this court. And then the man himself, but the man that is going to be killed, is he the same person that will not be paying back, or are we not trying to have a roundtable talk where we now say, okay, let's do this and find a way to remedy the whole stuff? I think it doesn't really, because most of the time, in situations like this, if you are asking the man that is, will he serve his J term first and come out? Well, if you want him to do that, he will definitely, or rather, what am I saying? If he's going to be convicted, is he a dead man that you will not be demanding for? You know, I think that's basically.
I don't know. That's where you're coming now.
So that is what it is. That's what it is.
All right. So I think Abuja should be ready for their second discussion now on the program this morning on ITV. Okay, they're still not ready. Now, some of the facts coming through about the situation we're looking at this morning is that the judge, that's Justice Ibironke Harrison, sentenced Drambi Vandi to death. And of course, he ordered that he should be hung, and he should not be left until he dies.
That's it. That's what
I don't know. But, I mean, you sentenced that somebody should be hanged to death.
Yes.
Why will you now?
You know, in common law, there was a case of common law in England way back, and there was this professional lawyer, very experienced, and there was a matter that came up. And there was a boy, I think I can't remember the case so well now, but he was convicted. And he tried all he could and discovered that at night he was just sleeping, and he read through, he should be hung. Oh, that's fine. Then I said, yes. He didn't say he should die. You know.
They should hang him.
They should hang him, that's all. And then when they got to court that day, the parents, everybody crying, and they took him to the gallows and they hung him. And I said, cut him down. And they cut him down. The boy was already almost dying. And I said, they have a new, fresh matter before court. And they took him back to court. And then he now got to court. What is it you want to say, Counsel? And he said, well, my lord, he has just served his punishment. You are
asked him to be hung.
So, well, then, okay, he should die by hanging. So not just to go there and have an exercise of your neck.
Yeah, so make sure he dies first.
He should die there before. So that's what that's what led to that.
Yeah.
That he now said he should die by hanging until he's confirmed dead.
Yeah.
He should not be brought down.
Anyway, in as much as Drambi Vande still have a chance to appeal, just like what the lawyer said here now, he has a chance to appeal the sentence. But I think we should take this as you know, enough you know, warning, so to say, for all those security agents that have very poor handling of ammunitions, firearms handed to them. You need to see the way some of the security agents, the way they handle this arms at times. It's very, very threatening. Most times when I see them, I just go away from them. I don't go close to them at all. Anyway, that's the discussion. We want to say a very big thank you to you, Barrister Patrick Awosagi, and also we commiserate with the Bolale family over the death of that young lady, 41 years of age. Very painful, very, very painful. No wonder that the NBA had to really come out. The Nigerian Bar, of course, that's your organization now. They came out to ensure that justice should be looked into and justice should be served. All right, so we just hope and pray that we don't have a similar case in the country anymore. Now, please, for police officers that are posted to, you know, environments that is kind of hostile, so to say now, you have to be very, very careful with the way you handle firearms. And your training is that, I mean, you are not at war zone. Why will you pull the trigger? You know, I actually spoke with a security expert yesterday. You know, he told me that he wonders why police men, security agents, why they pull the trigger. That is only when you are at war zone. That's when you pull the trigger. Pulling that trigger means you are ready. You are ready for battle. So for you to pull the trigger, I mean, in a civil environment, it shows that something is wrong with you.
The mental health of the man should be checked.
Yeah.
The sanity and all of that. The pressure, you know, when you work under immense pressure at times and things going on, you know, having bills and back and forth to pay, considering the Nigerian story and a whole lot of things, could run, you know, keep him, you could turn his mind up the other way. And I, for one, believe we should also try to, those in offices, the government of the day, they should understand that these people, they have families too.
They are humans.
Yes, they are. Because a lot of them at times, there was one I saw right there in the rain, you know, what's happening? And he said it's fine, you know, it's just that it's cold, you know, in the rain and you can't leave, you know. I think if I were to be his superior, I would have asked him, you know, he is a younger one and but no, all I could do is come and have this and say thank you so much, because he wasn't feeling fine. Yeah. He was cold and you don't expect him to discharge it, and he can't go because he's there. So we should understand this and also see how we could make life more bearable for them.
Okay. Yes. And also too, for you, the security agent that handles gun, you should know that you are more at a vantage position. I mean, when you are dealing with an unarmed person, you should know that you are armed. He's not. So, I mean, that alone should give you enough warning so that you know how to handle the gun. Well, I think that's all for the discussion segment this morning from the Benin Network Center.